Inception. The latest movie from the genius that is Christopher Nolan, people. Okay, The Dark Knight is, let's start with his previous work. The Dark Knight is my favourite film of all time. Batman Begins, loved. Memento, loved. Prestige, meh. Inception for me was one of the most anticipated films of 2010, if not the single. The other one would be Toy Story 3, but I don't know if I'm going to get to see that at the moment. Anyways, but I managed to see Inception a couple of weeks ago in IMAX, and I want to review this for you guys. Okay, the plot of Inception stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Ellen Page, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Michael Caine, Cillian Murphy, Tom Hardy, Kenton Watanabe, and all the other cast. Anyway, plot of it. Don Cobb, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, is an extractor who is able to go into people's minds and extract things for people that he works for, like take things out from their dreams. But this time, when he's faced with the prospect of actually finally seeing his family again, he reluctantly agrees to perform Inception, which is the method that does the vice versa effect, which is put things in people's minds rather than take them out. Soon the mission becomes more complex than Cobb or any of his colleagues thought, and they have to try and survive Inception in order to make out alive for a start, before Cobb has any chance of seeing his family. Will they make it out alive? Okay, now as I said, Inception was the most anticipated film of 2010, and I've heard news and reviews that it is just as good, if not better, than The Dark Knight. Sadly for me, I do not agree with that statement, although I still, straight up front, love this movie though, but I like The Dark Knight more. Anyways, let's get into the pros of Inception. The acting, just unbelievably mind-blowing. You have Leonardo DiCaprio, who does excellent at everything he does for me. Ellen Page, all the cast I mentioned before, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Michael Caine, Cillian Murphy, Ken Watanabe, Tom Hardy. You know, I'm sure I'm forgetting a few others, but I don't really care. You know, they all, straight up front, kicked ass in this movie. I seriously think that the characters was somewhat developed at the right times, you know, and I think that the acting just made the characters extremely more likable, that I cared about them. Okay, other pros. The action is phenomenal in this movie. Okay, now Christopher Nolan is, to me, the proper master of suspense. The Dark Knight is a classic example for me of how to keep suspense, but still not take it too long. Alfred Hitchcock, rest in peace. But remember, you just took far too long to get suspense going. I'm sorry, had to be said. But I still think you are a great director. Anyway, but Christopher Nolan for me keeps suspense at the right level, the right amount, the right times, and knows when to give you a scare, or knows when to shock you. So that leads to the action being phenomenal in this movie. Anyway, what else did I like about it? The script is just original and amazing. The script doesn't have any corny lines, any cheesy lines at all. It has the right amount of lines, and it has some good humour in there as well, I might add. But it still keeps enough on its edge to focus on the more serious side of matters. Pacing, with the exception of the little bit of the beginning, was fine from beginning to end. I was pretty much mostly hooked into what was going on, and I actually understood the plot, but it actually does twist with your mind, to let you know that. So if you're going into it, you need to be prepared for a very complicated and twisted plot. And the direction, of course, by Christopher Nolan, the special effects, the editing, everything, just top-notch. Need I say any more? So now we have to talk about into the few cons of Inception. Really, for me, the only problem I had with it was that at first it took a bit too long. For me, it took a little while. Like after the 20-minute mark, it starts to pick up. But then at times it felt like it was going from point to point, without establishing any serious plot points. You know, I think I would have liked to see a bit more of the character development, but I would have liked to have. I don't know. Something missing that would have made it better than The Dark Knight. But I didn't expect it to anyway, because The Dark Knight is still like my favourite film of all time. To sum it up though, Inception is almost a masterpiece, and it's easily my favourite film of 2010 so far. Christopher Nolan, you are the man. I still think you have really good potential for the future. Let's hope Batman 3 will be as good. We'll wait and see. Usually how it be with threequels, they're not as good as the first two. We'll find out in 2 years. So, but overall, I'm going to give Inception 4.5 stars out of 5. I love this movie. Favourite film of the year so far, though not as good as The Dark Knight, surprisingly. So that's my review of Inception. Oh, and the last thing, I saw this in IMAX, and if you're wondering if this was worth the price of admission for IMAX, it's not. There's no IMAX shots or really mind-blowing IMAX sequences. If you want to go specifically for the sound, fork out 12 quid or who knows how many dollars it is, who knows. But stick to ordinary showings of Inception. IMAX wasn't quite worth it. So until next time, YouTube, when I'm going to be making a sort of a special announcement video in a few weeks, I'll be signing out.